When families gather for the holidays, controversial topics come up, and often not everyone is on the same page. Reporter Shannon Smith walks us through the best ways to talk guns, politics, and religion this Thanksgiving. Shannon?
Beth, those are all considered touchy topics, especially around family, and they're hard to avoid. East Tennessee's chapter of Moms Demand Action teamed up with a local therapist tonight to help people navigate conversations in a smart way.
When you're sitting at the table, ready to feast on all the great foods Thanksgiving has to offer, leave it up to your uncle to make a comment on something that strikes a nerve.
When we come together with our families, we often have difficult conversations.
It's because these are people you've known forever. You love them. You want to share your opinions on politics, discrimination, gun violence.
That is a perfect opportunity to have these difficult conversations about gun violence and those sorts of things.
But you don't always agree.
A lot of times these are issues that are very personal to people and mean a lot to them. So we get really passionate about things, and that's often when things escalate.
Art therapist Rachel Ryan McMillan addressed this issue with East Tennessee Moms Demand Action on Wednesday. The group is passionate about changing gun laws, but knows not everyone is on the same page.
Gun violence shouldn't be a taboo issue in our families. The more we talk about it, the more that we feel comfortable with it and just finding solutions.
McMillan says the best way to talk about any tough issue is to be assertive with your beliefs, be understanding to those who feel differently, and discuss, don't fight.
At the holidays, we're probably with people that we do love and do care about, and so if we're going into difficult conversations with a level of compassion, that can really make a big difference. If we're going in with authenticity.
McMillan says starting sentences with "I feel this way" instead of putting blame on a family member can help keep these talks civil too. Beth, Brandon.
All right, Shannon Smith with the story tonight. Thank you very much.